So hello students, today we are going to start lecture number 12, SQL statements and queries. So this lecture would be a little explanation about what are SQL queries. Okay, now to give a hint of the previous classes of database that we had taken. So in that I had told you that a database is a collection of structured information, right? A database is a collection of certain structured information. That means, let us say for example, this is the database, this is your database. Okay, so here every information is being stored, right? Let us say this is the database DB. The database named here is DB. This is the database, right? So inside this database, what do we have? We have information, right? Inside the database we have certain kinds of information. Okay, so that is why we say that database is a collection of certain structured information. Database is a collection of your structured informations. Okay, now this is a collection of structured information. Structured, what do you mean by structured? Structured means it is organized. Okay, it means it is organized according to names, according to different kind of syntax. It is organized. Okay, now let me tell you that how the information is stored inside this database. The All the information you see in the database is stored in such tables. Okay, the information that you see inside a database is stored in the form of tables. Okay, it is stored in the form of tables, what you're seeing right here. Now how is the table? The table looks like this, right? It is composed of rows and columns. Right, now this table, where it is located inside this database. Now this is not a real entity. Okay, a table does not exist in real world or as in physical. It is just a virtual thing that exists and help us to keep the data inside the database. Okay, now MySQL is a software that helps you create such tables. Okay, MySQL is a software that helps you to create such tables inside the database. Okay, now MySQL statements or queries are very helpful in creating the database and storing such information inside the database. Okay, so now one thing, that for creating a table, first of all we must have a database first, right? For creating a table, first of all we must have this database, then only we can put this table inside this database, isn't it? Then only it is possible to create a table inside this database. Means first of all you have to use this database first. You have to use this database first. Now this database may have any name. It may have any name. Now the name given by me is DB. Okay, you may give any names. So I will run each and everything in the SQL program, and then I will try to execute the statements, and let's see whether the thing gets executed or not. Okay, now the first statement that you see right here is create database statement. Okay, create database statement in MySQL is such a statement that if you type this statement, create database statement, or if you use this query, then it will create a new database in the SQL. It will create a new database in the SQL system. Now what is SQL? I hope you all know. SQL stands for structured query language. It stands for structured query language. Okay, so it stands for structured query language. Now inside this structured query language, or we have this create database statement. Now how this statement looks like, let me zoom it for you a little bit. This statement looks like this. This is the proper syntax of database. Okay, this is the proper syntax of database. Now create database statement is used to create a new SQL database. The create database statement is used to create a new SQL database. Now syntax Syntax means how to write. Okay, syntax means how to write these statements. Okay, now let us go to SQL and execute these statements one by one. So where you go to search bar, you go to the search bar. There is this command line client which you are seeing here. On clicking this, you have this kind of a black screen. There's a kind of a black screen appearing. Okay, so this, my dear student, this is the console for MySQL. Okay, it looks like this. Now here, first of all, you have to type the password. So the password which I have given is 1234. Okay, so as you can see on the screens, welcome to MySQL is coming. Okay, so the version that we're using is 5.5.41 as it is given here, as you can see. Okay, so here are various other things, and it is being developed by Oracle. Okay, you should know that MySQL is being developed or was developed by the Oracle company, right? Now, what is the first statement that we were studying? We were studying about create database. Okay, create database means it is such a statement that will help you to create a database inside the SQL. Okay, now let us see how to create a database. So as the syntax goes, you will write create database and then database name. Okay, now let us see whether it works or not. So before creating a database, let us see if there are any previous databases existing or previous database being made here. Okay, so how will you do it? You shall do it with the help of a command named as show databases. Okay, so as you can see what I have written show databases, and after that I have ended it with a semicolon, and then I have pressed enter. So on pressing enter, you have these databases that are coming up. As you can see on the screen, these are the databases that are coming up. One is information schema, MySQL, performance schema, school, test, test1, test2, all these. So here these are certain, these three are certain inbuilt data or inbuilt databases, okay, that comes along with MySQL, and here are certain old databases that were created previously. Okay, now what we shall do is that we shall try to create a new database and see whether it works or not. So the command for creating a new database is, let us see the command once again. It is create database name. Okay, so I shall write create database and then database name. Let us, so since we have already a database named school, we have already test2. Okay, so let us create a new database named, let us say, employee. Okay, let us create a database employee, and then we end it with a semicolon, and on pressing enter we see this kind of a statement comes up, that query okay, one row affected. So what does it mean, students? This means that whatever query you have typed here, this is okay. Okay, and it has executed successfully. Now if you would have created a mistake in this, for example, let me create a mistake and let's see what the error looks like. Okay, this was my command. Okay, let us change it a little bit. Suppose I have written here databases, show create databases employee. Now will this command work or not? Let's see. As you can see, the statement given here is you have an error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual that corresponds to your SQL Server version for the right syntax. Okay, so what is the right syntax? The right syntax is create database, not databases, and after that this employee, what you seeing here, this employee what you see here, this thing is known as the database name. Okay, now we have already created a database, so already we do not need to create another one. Now let us see whether it has been created actually or not. Okay, Let us see whether it has been created actually or not. How will you see that whether this database has been created or not? We can use the command show databases. Okay, now as soon as I press enter, you can see that there is a new database being added. Previously the employee did not exist here. Okay, now we have created a new database named employee and it exists here. Okay, but there is a thing that if we try to create another database, let us say I want to create another database and keep it a different name, employee 1, will it be created or not? Yes, it will be created since I have altered the name. Okay, you see a similar thing right here, that query. Okay, it shows query. Okay, it shows query. Okay, that means the database must have been created here, right? The database must have been created here as it is showing. So let us check once again, show databases, and as we can see employee and employee 1 has been created. Okay, these are the two databases that has been created and is getting displayed. Okay, now look at the next command that we have, create table statement. This is one of the very important statements in MySQL. Okay, this is one of the very important statements in MySQL. Now let us try to create a table inside the database that you have created. Now simply you cannot create a table inside, as because you have created a database. So what you must do is that first of all you must use that database first. Before creating a table you must use certain database, then only you will have a option for creating the table. Without using the database you cannot do that. So let us use the database. Let us say I want to create a table inside employee, so I will use employee. That's it. Database changed. You will get a statement such as database changed. Okay, now what to do after that? We shall try to create a table. Okay, so let us look at the syntax once. This is the syntax that you are looking at. Create table, create table. This is the table name. Okay, this is the table name here, persons. So I will create inside the employee table, I will create, let us say, a table named person. Okay, so use employee. Employee is the database name. Okay, now what are the traits that it will have? What does an employee have? Let us say I will create a table named person. Create table person. Okay, create table person. This is the syntax how it should be written. Now what are the traits? Okay, let us go to the traits, or what are the fields that you are going to create. So here are certain fields. For example, a person will have person ID, last name, first name, address and city. So I will create it according to my convenience. Okay, in a person, if we name the person, then the person will have name, int will be the data type. Okay, int, as you can see here, will be the data type, and we may or may not give it size. Okay, we may or may not give its size. So let us say I give the size, let us say I will give the size as 20. Okay, name, sorry, it will have character data type, and the size will be, let's say, 50. I give the size as 50. Okay, and it is not null. You should write not null because this field cannot be left blank, right? After that you have a comma again, then you write the next attribute along with the data type and size. First of all you will have name, you will have address, you will have address, again it will have a data type named character, and it will have the size, let's say I give the size as 50. Then there is another field, let us say another field which I create is employee ID or person ID. Person Now since here you cannot give space, you can give an underscore here. So this is person ID. Okay, this will be the person's ID, and again some, this will be varchar. Now let me tell you what is varchar. Varchar is the data type we use in such fields where we have both things in common. Okay, varchar we use, for example, let's say, look into your screens. Let us say if we have such a thing such as, suppose this is a name, Rose. So it will be of character type. If I type 1, 2, 3, these are integers, it will have integer type. And if I type number 1, 32F, so this is a mixture of this, what you see on your screens, this, what you're seeing on your screens is a mixture of characters as well as numbers. This is a mixture of character as well as numbers. So here we use the varchar data type. Okay. Now here person ID may be like, let's say ID will be P123. So it will contain character as well as numbers. So let us give the size as 30. Let us give the size as 30. The next thing that we are going to do is create one more field. Let us give it as pin code. It will have integer data type, and let us give the size again as, let us say 6. Pin int 6, not null, means you cannot leave this as null. Okay, after that, so how many fields have we created? One field should be name, other is address, then the next one is person ID, you have pin. So these are the 4 things that you've created, right? Now let us see whether it works or not. Okay, so as you can see on the screens, it is showing query okay, 0 rows affected. Okay, it is showing 0 rows affected. Okay, now how to see, select, how to see or check the table whether it has been created or not. Select star from, what was the table name? Person. Okay, select star from person. It is showing empty set. So this command that you are seeing here will show empty set because we have just created the table. Okay, we have just created the table and we have not entered any data. We have not entered any data here. Okay, we haven't entered any data. Okay, so the table, this table has been created. Now this table has been created. So as you can see right here, there is a person, there is last name, first name, city and address. So in our table, what are the fields that we have? What are the fields that exist? The fields that exist here are name. Firstly, we have name. Then we have address as character. Then we have person as varchar, person ID, sorry. We have person ID as, we have person ID as varchar, variable character with value as 30, means it will take the size as 30. And after that we have pin code, that is given as data type integer. Okay, now let us see the tables. Okay, now see, we have created a table named person, right? We have created a table named person. So here is the list of all tables that have been created. So inside this database named employee, we have a table named person. Okay, we have a table named person. Is there any other table here? No, the answer is no, because there is no there is no table being created rather than person. Okay, I hope this thing is clear. You can take a screenshot of this and you can keep it. You can take a screenshot of this. You can take a screenshot of this. Okay. Now, as you can see right here, I have typed a command named DESC person. Okay. So after typing, you want to see that whether I have really created this table, how does this table look like. So in here is the tables list named person, and what you're seeing right here, what you're seeing right here is the actual table being created, and this is the structure of a table. Okay, this is known as the structure of a table. Okay, now let us insert some data into this table. How to insert the data? Just type whatever you want to write. Insert, what is the query? Insert into table name. What is the table name? Person values. Insert into person values. Okay, insert into person values. So what is the first thing that you want to enter? You want to enter name. So this is name here. But let us say the first name is Rohan. Okay, then you have the person's address. Address would be, let's say, Delhi. Delhi. The address is Delhi. Now, why I'm giving these things inside quotations, as because these are character and character. Characters except integers. It is better to put everything inside quotes. Okay. So this is the second thing. Now you have person ID. Person ID was given as variable character. So I can put, let us say, EMP1. Okay, EMP1. This is the person ID, and lastly you have the pin. Let us say the pin is 786004. Okay, close it. Let us see whether it gets executed or not. Though it is showing query, okay, one row affected. Okay, let us insert one more data. Let us say Raj is the second data. Delhi 6 is the second data. Let us say, let me change it to Punjab. Okay, you have employee ID here 1. Let me change it to 2. And lastly, let us change this also. So this totally is a different data what you are seeing right here. Now I want to enter this. As you can see, query okay, one row affected. So 2 times I have run this query with 2 different values. Okay, now let us see whether actually the data has entered here or not. So the query for this is select star from person. Okay, select star from person. Now as you can see that whatever data I have tried to enter in this table has already been shown up. It has already showed up. So what are the data we have entered? Rohan, it is coming as Rohan. Delhi is coming here as Delhi. Employee 1, this was the first person's ID, EMP1, and lastly you have the pin. So similarly you see that you have 2 different rows in this table, 2 different rows in this table with different columns. Now these what you're seeing right here, name, address, person ID, pin, these are known as fields, and these are known as tuples because these are rows. Okay, and these fields or columns, these are fields or columns. How many data, how many rows of data are there? There are 2 rows. You can insert many more depending upon your wish. Okay, let us check and do certain more. Let us insert one more data. let us say XYZ. Okay, let us keep the address as Delhi. Let me change it to employee 5, and let us change this as well. Okay, now if I try to enter, it should query. Okay, now how will I check, how shall I check whether this data has entered actually or not? Okay, let me show it to you right here. You just type select star from person to check the table's data, and after that what you see right here is the next data or next column added, and it is XYZ Delhi EMP 5 7760004. So this is the third set or the third entry in this table. Okay, so students, I hope you all have understood the SQL statements and how it runs. So this what you're seeing right here is the data after creation of a table, and this similar table is here. But you can see on your screens there is a similar table here. Okay, so this is how you create tables inside the database. This table is inside the database, like this table named person is inside the database named employee, right? So I hope these things are clear, and we shall do more practicals in the upcoming lectures. Okay, I hope you all have understood what is being explained here, and if there are any queries you can go through the video again, and please try to do it stepwise. I will recommend you to do it stepwise. If you skip the steps, then you might get errors. Okay, and here there is no question of capital and small, but the spelling should be correct. That is the only thing in SQL. You must remember that the spelling should be very much correct. Okay, so with that we shall end today's lecture, and I hope these things are clear, and you shall give a practice it at home. If you really like the video, then do give a practice once again, and it will help you boost up your SQL skills and query writing skills, right? Okay, so thank you very much.